Welcome back. My guest today is author Dr. Ernest Porter. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for making time for us today. And you've got your new book, Saved, Blessed, and Delivered. Can you give us a little overview of that book?
The book covers my entire life, plus my experience in Hurricane Katrina and my walk with God, my call to the ministry.
That is outstanding. Now, many of us have different stories. What led you to actually write a book about your life?
When I first came to the city and it was known that I came here out of Katrina, several people was asking me when was I going to write a book to share with the world about my experience. And I said to them, I'm doing just a little bit at a time, but the main thing was finding a reputable publisher.
Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of that publisher, who are you working with?
Margaret Press.
Margaret Press.
Yes.
Yes, and Dolores Thornton is very instrumental in that.
She is the owner and proprietor of that publisher.
And so she helped you to coordinate this,
Yes.
this effort and getting the book printed and released.
Much of its success and whatever has come out of it is attributed to her.
That's outstanding. It's good to know that we've got local publishers that are able to support those of us with stories and are able to put those thoughts on paper and get that out to the public. That is outstanding. Now, we could do a whole half hour on your story about Katrina. What was your experience with that?
It is a story that cannot be completely told in just one setting, but an overview would be that coming out of the city, it was completely devastation. And from New Orleans to Natchez, Mississippi, where we made our first stop, which is about a 2-hour drive normally, but this was right at 8 to 10 hours because the interstate had become a overcrowded parking lot. Imagine driving 200 miles at 10 miles an hour, 5 miles an hour. So it was very, very devastating. But I said, overall, I don't know who else, me personally, could see God working.
That is outstanding. Now, you had a ministry in New Orleans, is that correct?
Of course I did. I pastored one church for 31 years there.
Yes. And what happened to that ministry?
The storm or the hurricane destroyed that ministry, the building and everything.
Wow. And the members of your ministry, did they all stay together or how did that work out?
They scattered all across the country,
Wow.
And never did return back to the city to resume that ministry.
Now, you since restarted your ministry, and you are now the pastor of Greater Galilee IMBC.
Yes.
Tell me about that ministry.
Well, that church was in existence when I came here. Mm-hmm. I am the third pastor. And my first experience with that church, my first knowledge of it was I was invited to come and preach for that church for their men day, and I did one sermon, and from then on it was all uphill.
That is outstanding. You've got a supportive membership, I'm sure.
Yes, very, very.
Yes. Now, going back to your book, again, it's called Saved, Blessed, and Delivered, and it covers your life story, your experience with Hurricane Katrina.
Yes.
What do you hope the readers get out of this book?
One thing I hope that they would get out of the book, that is, number one, that there is never any situation that you could go through or face where it is completely hopeless and that God can't reach you and deliver you.
That is outstanding. Out of a situation where there's total loss and devastation,
yes,
you're still able to rise up and resume your life and with more understanding.
Precisely.
Yes.
Out of all of that, the only loss that I suffered was material loss, and it wasn't really totally lost because God replenished me.
Yes.
But not a single loss of life from the membership or my family.
That is outstanding. We are really excited about having you on the show and really hoping that our viewers can take advantage of the opportunity to get such a book as Saved, Blessed, and Delivered. And we do have information on the screen, Saved, Blessed, and Delivered. And again, Reverend Porter is the pastor at Greater Galilee IMBC, and it's located at 4375 North Arlington Avenue in Indianapolis, Indiana, 46226. And the phone number there is 542-1003. And the book can be bought or get information at the website www.margueritepress.com.
Or at barnesandnoble.com, at Mount Carmel Baptist Church bookstore, at Martin University, and that's Arlington.
Very good. Excellent.
There are several places that book is now available.
That is outstanding. Well, we do appreciate you making time for us today.
And
we thank you. We wish you nothing but the best for the book and also your ministry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and back to you.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Pastor. My guest talks about an upcoming resurrection service. That story's next when Religion in the News returns. Good morning again. Welcome back to Religion in the News. My guest today is Pastor Richard A. Thompson III. Pastor, welcome back to our show.
Thank you.
We had you on here a few times, and you're well known in our community. Pastor, you've had a series of events that have taken place in your life, both challenging and encouraging over the past several years. But I want to go back primarily over the last maybe 2 years. And why don't you get our viewers up to par on what's happened to you over the last 2 years? And I know we're here to talk about a resurrection service, but this would actually set the stage for that.
Amen. I had a aortic dissection, which is one of the primary attacks on the heart that winds up having a mortality rate very high. So I wound up having to have my last surgery, which I was clinically dead in the last 2 years, and I found myself in a position I'd never been in before.
And let me interject. What did you call that? An aorta?
Aortic dissection.
Dissection. Basically, your aorta burst.
It burst. Okay. And this last surgery, they had to repair the whole aorta from top to bottom, all 3 arteries, and the aortic valve. So I had some pretty serious conditions to fight through and quite a bit of complications. So most of last year I was in the hospital.
Wow.
So when I found God speaking back to me and encouraging me to get up from the sick bed, I realized that there was something yet for me to do.
Yes.
And when he spoke to my heart and told me he wanted me to pastor again, I had to ask, is this you, Lord? And I found it befitting to have our first service as Resurrection Sunday and Resurrecting Abundant Life World Outreach Ministries.
And that's this upcoming Sunday.
No, that's actually
April
the 24th of this month, yes.
Now, prior to the aorta situation, you had a couple other issues and challenges, and it just seems like, I guess I call you that Energizer Bunny. You know, you take a licking, you keep on ticking, or Timex, whatever slogan that is. Talk to us about, even before that, what happened and what led you up to.
Well, I've had quite a few faith fights, and unfortunately, those were the process that God took me through to get my faith to the point it is today. And of course, I've had a stroke, I've had aortic dissection, and again, they call it a AAA surgery, which is what they call the Cadillac. So when they did all of the, I have brand new parts, that's a good part. And I heard you say a few names. They've called me the comeback kid, they've called me a cat, they've called me the New Day Lazarus.
I'm assuming a cat is for 9 lives.
9 lives, yes.
Now let's talk about your resurrection service we have coming up here, symbolic of your personal resurrection.
Yes.
Get into what that's all about.
It is actually the very first service of Abundant Life World Outreach Ministries since my death and resurrection. And we are very excited about this service. We have also some vehicles to share with anyone who wants to go and look at us, how our ministry flows at our website, alworld.org, or they can also visit us on YouTube, which is Pastor Thompson 2010.
Yes, and I believe you have a Facebook page too.
I also do, yes. That is either Richard A. Thompson III or Abundant Life World Outreach Ministries.
Now, I will make sure, because we're under a minute, so I'll make sure that we put your contact information up for our viewers. I remember several years ago when you had the initial church, how big of a pantry that you had.
Oh, yes.
And what a large outreach in that area that you have. Are you planning on doing anything in that arena again?
We're more determined to get all of those vehicles back in place to help our community at large.
Absolutely. And real quickly, too, before we go, I hear some good news about your two sons. I mean, one of your sons is coming up in ministry here relatively soon.
Yes, sir.
Just share a brief word on that before we close out.
Well, we might want to hold it a secret yet because
it's a secret.
Yes, sir.
All
but
right.
we're excited that God is doing great things.
Now, tell us that date one more time for the resurrection service.
April the 24th, 2011, at 1655 Columbia Avenue at 4 o'clock.
And 4 o'clock p.m. Pastor Thompson, it's good to see you. Thank you for being our guest this morning on Religion in the News.
Amen.
We'll be right back after this.
Be sure to tune in to Religion in the News in the upcoming weeks as we join the Church Federation of Greater Indianapolis in their journey to the 2012 Centennial Celebration. For more information on how you can participate, visit indyfaith.org. Thank you for joining us on Religion in the News. You can share your upcoming events by joining our calendar and sending it at least 2 weeks in advance to Wish TV address on the screen, or email your events and prayer requests to us at religion@wishtv.com. You can also check us out on Facebook under Religion in the News. Check out our guest information and calendar of events this week by visiting wishtv.com. Click on Community and then Religion in the News. Also visit Church of Federation of Greater Indianapolis website at indyfaith.org. Here's our calendar, and have a great week.